Game Woven is now proudly part of the One Shot Network. Check out other great podcasts at oneshotpodcast.com. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Game Woven. It is our distinct pleasure this week to present a truly unique opportunity, a game that has not been officially released yet. That's right. To set up the final setting for our Traveling Bridge arc, we will be playing the recently funded game Before the Flood, a game of utopic creation for 6 players, exactly 6 players. This is really important. This is written for precisely 6 players. And we have how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's right, 6 people on the Game Woven core cast. This is written for us. Not officially, but like spiritually, it is written for us. It's Before the Flood by Nicholas Ambrose and Sylvan Lawrence, friends of the show, who loaned us an advance copy so that we could play it together here for you on Game.
So excited. Are we going to do the entire theme song?
No, we're not going to do the whole theme song. Just now we know where the theme song goes.
Wow. I don't think we would have known that before.
No, it just went right after Ben says, now we know where the theme song goes.
Long ago, before our world, there was another. There was a flood once, or so I have heard. It was vast and terrible in the way that only the greatest disasters can be. A cataclysm, so total in its destruction that when it swept the world, there was nothing left. This is not the story of that flood. This is not the story of how it came to pass, or what it broke, or what came after. This is the story of the world that came before it, a world lost to the sands of time and the waters of inevitability. This is the story of when magic was material, and the ones like us were lions on the prairie. This is the story of Before the Flood. It's fun. That's such a great preamble.
Oh, good.
The writing in this is honestly so evocative. It's fabulous. This is fabulous. I'll read the opening blurb really quick here. What do we have here? Before the Flood is a game about working together to discover a world that existed long before our own. The world could be one that you're already familiar with, like the lost city of Atlantis. Perhaps the world is even more vast, a hidden continent, or a sort of Pangea lost to time. Or perhaps you are creating something entirely new. That's what we're doing! A land whose story itself no longer exists at all. So right here on Game Woven, we are using, obviously, the Game Woven world to establish this town that is going to be destroyed in some kind of a cataclysm that we will reveal after we've finished this run. Over the course of the next 2 to 4 hours, you will work as a team of 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, exactly 6, to draw a map of this place, discovering new facets along the way and telling stories of the triumphs and tribulations that the communities face together. In order to weave these threads together, you will each take up a unique mantle of power that grants you influence over a specific sphere of the world you're building: land, legend, nature, nation, wheel, and woe. Each mantle has its own power and its own flow of play. Each one is completely different, and you could read more about each of the 6 mantles in section name / page number.
Brackets.
Close brackets.
Like we said, the game's not out yet. It's not
Yeah,
done.
it's not out yet. This is a test copy. While Before the Flood is a role-playing game, it is also a map-playing game and a collaborative storytelling game. These types of games are very unfamiliar to us at Game Woven. We are not used to them. This is definitely an aside for us. As
so
such,
weird.
check this out. This is my favorite part. As such, it requires a set of materials that many tabletop role-playing games do not. Roughly 2 to 4 hours of your shared time, 6 players, a large sheet of parchment paper or equivalent drawing service. Drawing service provided by Owl Bear Rodeo. A pen,
Not a
permanent marker.
sponsor.
A pen, permanent marker, or other drawing implement. 4 stones or tokens, 2 of a light color and 2 of a dark color. A coin appropriate for flipping. A physical book, such as the Book of Legend. A pen or pencil for handwriting. A set of polyhedral dice, 1d4, 1d6, 1d8, 1d10, 1d12, 1d20, and 1 percentile die. A set of 16d6, a tarot deck, a deck of 52 playing cards. That's right, each one of the mantles uses its own material for random generation. It's wonderful.
I'm so excited.
I am fucking thrilled. We have been talking about this for weeks. So we all decided on mantles off screen. And so there's this really, really cool ritual up front that we're going to kind of pseudo do via audio, where we read some text and place the specific icons of each one of the mantles in the middle of the table. You'll just have to pretend that we're placing playing icons in the table. Just use your own personal theater of the mind for this.
Or Bree, use Foley.
Or use Foley. That works too. So you need a separate Foley for playing card and for tarot card.
The same
Okay.
sound in reverse.
Taking up the mantle, take turns reading the italics in this section aloud and follow the instructions as you go. Begin by spreading the parchment paper out in the center of the play space.
When the mantle of land first awoke, it did so alone. Land was lonely in its vastness, and its endless expanse of terrain was untamed and empty. I would place one stone or token onto the parchment paper.
Before long, or perhaps after an eternity, land was joined by another. Where land was soft-spoken and stoic, its new friend was sing-song and spry. It called itself Legend, and it began to tell land a story. And I would place a coin on the parchment paper. Once upon a time, in the place where the ground itself spoke, and the wind whispered tales of times yet to come, there were twins, and they were young. The two were alike in each and every way, seedlings of life itself. Where they walked, new shapes and forms sprung from the earth, and from those forms sprung more forms, and more, a self-fulfilling propagation, the likes of which the ground and wind had never seen before.
And then I would place a D4 on parchment paper. Some of them twisted into shapes both strange and alien, and multiplied in their varied and diverse ways until you could scarcely count the different kinds. One twin breathed life into them and gave them purpose. The ground named this twin Nature.
And then I would place 2d6 on the parchment paper. The other twins' forms were more consistent. From one shape sprang another, differing in some ways, but recognizable in many others. Before long, these new beings began to draw lines across the earth, began to tell new stories to one another. The wind, enchanted, named this twin Nation.
I place a tarot card face down on the parchment paper. Nation's children and nature's spawn spread across land's domain, and as they did, they grew greater and more powerful together. Soon, another godling was born, a being of joy and good tidings that brought with it bounty and plenty. Nature greeted it kindly, giving it the name Wheel.
I place a playing card face down on the parchment paper. But there must be balance, and tidings come in pairs. As good fortune poured out onto the plains, so too did tragedy strike. Death, disease, famine, betrayal. As nation mourned the loss of its first children, it found a new friend waiting. It introduced itself as woe, and with it, the world knew harmony.
Take a moment to discuss with each other who would like to take up each mantle. We have already done this. The player who chooses Woe should pick up the playing card and shuffle it into the deck. Then Woe should read the following lines.
Woe was the mantle of ill omens, but it was not maligned or malicious in its actions. It is often the worst of times that bring out the best in us. Woe sought only to bring the world closer.
The player who chooses Wheel should now pick up the tarot card and shuffle it into the deck. Then they should read the following lines.
Wheel was the mantle of good fortune, but fortune only has meaning when it is shared amongst many. The true delight of the joy Wheel crafted was the delight of what was given freely from one being to another.
The player who chooses Nation should now pick up the 2d6 and place them with the other 14. Then they should read the following lines. Nation was a mantle of humanity, and what is possible when countless living things work in unity and unison to build something bigger than themselves. Nation works in constructs of might and order. The player who chooses Nature should now pick up the d4 and place it with the rest of the polyhedral die. Then they should read the following lines.
Nature was the mantle of wild magic, of what grows from the ground when it's left untended. Nature encompasses both the strangest and mundane corners of the world, and it brings them together with a creeping touch.
The player who chooses a legend should now pick up the coin and hold it as they read the following lines.
I was the mantle of histories, of the tales told that only become greater as they became less real. I worked through motion in the stories that I helped the other mantles tell.
And finally, the player who chooses land should pick up the casting stone and place it with the other 3. Then they should read the following lines.
Land was the mantle of the very firmament that expands beneath our feet. With time, even the earth can shift, and land embraced change with the same steadfast demeanor it awoke with.
Now that you have all chosen your mantles, take a break, stretch your legs. Make sure your play materials are in order and that you are familiar with them. When you return, read the next section together. Oh, this section's amazing. Oh my goodness.
They wrote the hell out of this.
They wrote the absolute shit out of this. Oh my god. All right.
Oh.
Hey guys, did you know this game's cool?
This game's really cool. This game's
This
amazing.
game is so cool.
Hope you
Very-
backed it. If you didn't, you'll have a chance again someday.
Yeah.
Already Weavy stamp of approval, I think.
Time
Yeah.
weaving.
It was literally talking about weaving in threads, so yeah.
Big,
Oh, yeah.
big Weavy.
Big weavy.
I'm 95% sure I did run into one of the creators at the Indie Press Revolution booth at Gen Con. And I just want to say, you probably don't remember that if you're listening to this, but if you do, you're really cool.
Yeah, super cool. I've been chatting with them a while off over on Twitter too, and they are just incredibly gracious and very very humble. I've been showering with them with compliments, only half of which they're accepting. So I'd say that's a pretty good ratio. Regarding the flood, soon the 6 of you will hoist your mantles high upon your shoulders and begin to tell a story unlike any that has come before. The story of a world of both faraway and nearby wonder that has since been wiped away by a cataclysm known only as the Flood. The precise nature of the Flood is unclear and will always be. This is, after all, a game about what came before the Flood, not during it. And certainly not after. We'll do that next. The scope of the story that you tell will not and cannot include the Flood, or even the events leading directly up to it. This is a really important rule, actually. The Flood is something else. The level of catastrophe that the Flood brings is unfathomable, and yet paradoxically, in order to understand the value of the acts of creation that you will partake in, you must understand their end. You must fathom the unfathomable. You must imagine the Flood. Of course, such a thing is impossible. How can we imagine the complete destruction of something that we have not yet made? The next section of the game is an exercise in imagination. It is an ending to the story you have yet to start. It might seem strange to put the ending before the rest of the story, to destroy your world before you have built it. But remember, the story that you will tell is one of creation. The Flood was terrible, is terrible, and will be terrible, yes, but it only exists in our minds. What you will make, that's what's real. When the 6 of you are ready, turn to the next page and read The Flood together. The Flood is a ritual of the imagination. It is not meant to be played through.
Together, in harmony, you've built utopia. You've balanced land and legend, nature and nation, weal and woe. You've perched your world upon the edge of a knife, and you've let it go and watched as it did not fall. Your work is done, and this place will last forever. Or so you believe.
In time, though, you'll be proven wrong. Perhaps it will take centuries, perhaps even thousands of years. Long after you are gone, the world will crumble. Humanity, swollen with hubris, will reach too far. Nation will extend beyond land's borders, and legend will be stretched too thin to compensate. Weal will come less and less often. Woe will strike each blow harder than the last. Nature will begin to die.
Eventually, there will be nothing left. Nation will be consumed by its greatness, and woe will wash over land in an event that we call the Flood. Your story must stop before the flood begins.
Here is how you enact the flood. Gather these materials together: a basin of water, 4 books of matches, a pound of soil, a collective breath held together. All materials from play. Follow these instructions carefully. Instruction 0. Do not follow these instructions. Do not play this section.
Instruction number 1. Land. Mix the soil into the basin of water. Stir thoroughly to create a muddy slurry. Drop the 4 casting stones into the basin, and then pass the basin to Legend.
As evenly as possible, pour the contents of the basin over the map. Tear out 16 pages from the book you used to describe words. Crumble them up into a wad of paper. Hand the wad of paper to Nature.
Nature. Smear the wad of paper across the map, pushing as much of the mud mixture as you can off of the drawing and onto the table. Light 1 match from 1 book of matches. I get to play with matches, guys.
Wow. No, you don't, Bree. Not really.
Yes, I do. Using that match, ignite the rest of the math book. Drop the matchbook into the now empty basin and pass it to Nation.
Nation, tear up the map into 4 unequal sections. 1 by 1, drop each section into the burning basin. Collect 4 of your dice and add them to the basin as well. Destroy your dice. Pass the basin to Wheel.
Wheel. Tear your tarot cards in half, 1 by 1.
Oh, that's expensive.
Add them to the basin, adding additional matches and matchbooks as necessary to keep the fire lit. Apologize to each other player. Mean it. Pass the basin to Woe.
Damn, Wheel has to do some goddamn work.
That's fucked up.
That's rough. That is.
No,
like-
read
that
the
is
section
not-
before you say that.
Remember 0.
Yeah,
do
remember
not do
rule 0.
this.
Don't do this part.
Don't actually play with matches.
The happiest one of these things is just as an absolute gut punch from top to bottom. That is horrifying. Excellent work.
That the dramatic irony of knowing what you are about to read.
Look, here's the thing. If we were doing this in person and I was ready to do that, I would do all of this. I
would too. 100%.
They sold me on
I
it.
would fully do this.
No, it's a mental
Yeah.
exercise to get you ready to know what you're about to lose.
Uh-huh.
Absolutely.
You're
Yeah, but I
forming a
would do
further
it.
attachment to the things, knowing that, oh, this is meant to be destroyed at the end.
Look, I've got a $20 tarot deck that I would 100% burn ritualistically in a basin for this. That's how
Yeah,
much
sure.
I like this game.
It sounds like we're ready to play
Sorry.
10 Candles again.
Whoa.
Meanwhile, y'all are all losing things. I'm not losing anything. Number 6, whoa. Place your deck of cards on the table, intact and unburnt. Put Nation's dice in your pocket. They are yours now to keep forever. Never give them back. While the basin burns, write down one thing that you'd hope you'd never have to say to the other players and leave that note on the table, face up. Leave the play space. Never speak to the other 5 players again.
What the fuck?
That's why I was saying y'all are freaking out about what Wheel has to do. That's nothing.
That's crazy.
Okay. We followed all the instructions, including 0.
I think, Emily, it's probably your turn to read this next italicized section.
In time, a new world will be built. But for now, the flood is all that remains of the old, and all that is implied of the new. Once more, to be crystal clear, The flood is not designed to be played. It is designed to be read. Never, ever follow the numbered instructions written above. Read them before every game of Before the Flood. Make sure every player has read them. Never play them.
I kind of want to play him.
Kind of want to play him.
It's
Other than
okay.
whoa.
No,
like, whoa.
no, we gotta commit. We lose one friend forever. But we have to commit.
Okay.
And that's game over, baby. That's it. We're done.
Can we just grab a random stranger off the street to read for Woe, and then when they leave, we sub in Zad?
Lord.
Wow. Anyway, Zad, would you like to read the last line?
Take a moment to discuss what you have read together. Consider taking a small break. When you return, turn to the next page.
All right, let's get started. The basic gist of the gameplay loop is that each one of us in our mantles takes a turn procedurally based on what happened in the previous mantle. So it always starts with land. Land is the one that does all the drawing on the map. And then when land has done their thing, it passes to legend. Based on what happens during legend's turn, it either passes to nature or nation. And then based on what happens during those turns, we either get wheel or woe. There's an important detail in here that because things kind of trickle down like one of those like Plinko boards, like it's kind of procedural, if the table can at any time, if the appropriate players agree, switch whose turn it is if someone like isn't going enough. Like, so if we accidentally land on like woe like 3 times in a row and wheel wants a turn, y'all can agree to let wheel take a turn instead, and it doesn't change anything that like we don't have to mess with anything. They just let you do that. But that's basically what it is. So what's cool about this is you really just need to learn your job, and then as it gets passed around, you'll do your thing. It's pretty cool. But we start with land. Land is the beginning. So land, if you would like to read your section and then take your turn.
So I would gather the drawing surface, the parchment paper, and a pen, and then 2 sets of tokens or stones, 2 of one color, 2 of another color. And that's going to represent high and low elevation. So you won't see this, but I have 4 dots that are going to go on Owlbear Rodeo, and the brown ones are low elevation and the yellow ones are high. So we start by drawing a key at the edge of the map for that. So I've done that so that all of the other mantles will know what's going on. And then I cast my stones. So I just rolled some dice for ambiance, but I'm going to do a little...
Are you able to like approximate where on the digital map your stones get dropped?
So on Owlbear Rodeo, it's gridded. So there's 24 squares. So
oh, that's right.
I
Sick.
am using
Clever.
the power of the internet
That's cool.
to roll a
Yeah, Rob's a
d26.
smarty boy.
So viewers, for taking it in a 9 square grid, we're kind of on square number 2. So we're kind of close to the top, in the middle, but a little more westerly.
Yeah, it's a little clustered.
It is. So, to read from the book, at the beginning of each round, cast the stones over a new section of the parchment, then trace them to add to the landmass. Dark tokens indicate low elevation in the landscape, light tokens indicate high elevation in the landscape. As each round progresses, you and the other players perform their tasks. Continuously add details to the map. Your pen should always be in motion. These details can be anything, but unless they're named by one of the other players, they aren't a focal point yet. Land is the quiet and constant mouthpiece of the group, the person that gives life to the vision the players are sharing.
So I'm thinking, Rob, while you're doodling, the way we want to represent this in an audio medium is you doodle away. You have just a good old time. what we'll need to do is when one of the players wants to check in on an actual location, we'll need to like identify as best as we can and ask you. We'll have to check in with Land, like, hey, what is that thing that you're doodling with? Because I want to mess with it, right? We'll just have to just keep referring back to you, and then we'll describe it as best as we can with colorful language. Does that feel good, team?
Real
Once-
colorful language.
Yeah, that's great.
Purple.
Once Land has done their thing, then we pass on to Legend, the coin in the book. Lex?
Yes, hold on. I'm having to open and close so many tabs to do this. I need another computer screen.
You might be able to actually, because of the way your roll goes, you might be able to not ever look at the map.
True, actually, yeah.
Although, if you would like to help us be able to afford all of our own computer monitors, second monitors, you can support us on Patreon.
You can. You can
Woo!
take a moment and check out our Patreon. And hey, while you're at it, we're part of the One Shot Network now. Check out the One Shot Network's Patreon as well.
Oh yeah, that's not a secret anymore. We can say that out loud.
Out
Yeah.
loud, we're part of the One Shot Network.
Isn't it so exciting?
So what you can do is you can throw $2 at us to get access to some early content, and then you can throw a couple of bucks at the One Shot Network to get all the stuff they've got. You should do that.
You
Yeah.
should do that.
And there's some other cool shows that we hang out with now. This one that comes to mind is Asian Represent. That's one I've known about for a long time. So that's cool.
We've got System Mastery, a favorite of mine. And then, of course, the flagship podcast, literally the one-shot podcast by our friend and parent, Super Dylan.
Gimble.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Are we ready, Legend?
Gather a coin appropriate for flipping, a pen or pencil suitable for writing, which we're using on the rodeo, and a physical book from your own collection. Today, I'm using a book from my childhood called Fablehaven that means a lot to me sentimentally. So yeah, if you've read the book before, you catch something you recognize, cool. I don't know where I was going with that.
Tweet at Lex.
On your turn, flip the coin. On a result of heads, it will be nature's turn to add to the map, and you will speak and influence them with your foretelling. On a result of tails, it'll be nation's turn to add to the map, and I'll speak to them. After the coin has made its decision, take up your chosen book and begin flipping through its pages, stopping whenever you feel you should and opening to that spread. Then close your eyes and trace a finger down the page, again stopping when you feel that you should. Use the word or phrase you've landed on to influence your foretelling as convened with either nature or nation. Once a landmark has been decided on, it's your job to decide where on the map to add it. Mark it with your pen or pencil as a new symbol, then add it to the legend on the side of the map, deciding on the name in conjunction with nature or nation.
Great.
Cool. Let's go. I'm excited.
So yeah, flip the coin and bust open the book, baby.
I bought this new version, this new copy of the book just for this. I'm so excited.
Aren't you glad you're not ripping 16 pages out of it?
I have an old one somewhere. I just couldn't find it, so I got. I do that, but I can't. So I'm gonna start with the coin. I believe I forgot everything I just read. Flip the coin. I dropped the coin. That's why I grabbed multiple coins.
Outstanding.
I got tails.
Yeah, let's fucking go. Nation.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
lordy.
Yeah.
Yeah, sports.
Page 127.
It's a good page. It's a good page to start on. Masterful gambit.
Before Seth could react, the creature squirmed down the drain. A final garbled burst of complaints issued from the dark hole, and then the creature was gone.
Okay.
All right.
And then you're going to tell me where on the map I should put my landmark, and then we're going to decide what it is.
You know, this is how you can tell that this is a game that's made by folks inside the community, like that are among us, is the turns nest inside one another. And it's not even a normal number of D6s. It's just like that's a lot of dice.
Nation. Gather 16 six-sided dice. That's 16d6. You start with 4 of them in your pool. I have 4. On your turn, you roll your pool of dice and attempt to create a match with one of the below combinations. The combinations are Yahtzee. It's Yahtzee. I'm playing Yahtzee. That's what it is.
No, you're playing
it's-
Advent.
It's dice poker. This is the second time we've used Yahtzee mechanics on this show. Every time, now this is fun. Okay, so this is the wild shit. Every time you roll a 4, you can choose to either remove that die from the pool entirely in order to invite Wheel to act, or I can choose to roll an additional die and permanently add it to my die pool, but I invite Woe to act instead. If you fail one of the combinations, you must invite Woe and consult the no combo table, which if you look at the no combo table, it sucks. After you have finished creating your combination, find the table that matches it, roll one last d6 and consult the table, add the result to the map on this turn, consulting legend, and then we give it a name, and we're off to the freaking races. Are we ready for me to roll 4d6?
No wonder you love this table or this game. Look at all these
It's
tables.
got so many tables. I love
You
tables.
love tables.
I love
Also,
them. Okay,
who
we go.
knew that TTRPGs would be how I learned to play Yahtzee?
I know, right?
I've never played Yahtzee in my life.
I never played Yahtzee, but I have played now 2 games that use it.
Incredible. Okay, here we go. Ready? 46 coming up hot. We're getting a pair. We're dropping the die. Okay, I got 1, 2. Wait, is a small straight in there? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Small straight's not in there. I checked.
Yeah, I would need.
But
need
it's not
1, 2, 3,
really
5, 6,
Yahtzee
7.
rules.
It's close though.
It's because you don't start with the full
Yeah.
number of dice.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
Yahtzee. You got to work your way up there.
Okay, so what I'm going to do, I do have a 4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another die, and so and that will pass it to Woe.
Whoa.
Oh, there.
I'm going to see if I can get a combination here. I got another 4. Beautiful.
That's
So-
a pair.
That's a pair. I've got a pair.
Does that
And
mean
then
that I
so-
get to act twice and you get to add 2 dice?
It's interesting. It doesn't say like I can keep stacking it. Well, hold on. Every time you roll a 4, I can make this choice.
Oh, that's interesting.
It says every time I roll a 4, I can choose to either remove it or add another die.
If you have a pair of 4s, you can either
Mhm.
take the no combo and get a wheel as well as a woe, or you can get a second woe. I guess you'd be getting a second woe either way, but you'd also be adding a dice.
So there is an important word in here. If you fail it, you must invite Woe and consult the no combo table, even if you have already attempted to invite Wheel. So I think it implies that it is mutually exclusive. Whichever one I land on is the one, like, so we can't stack up Wheels and Woes. It's one or the other, is what I'm getting
Gotcha.
here. I know we're trying to min-max this game already.
Y'all are. We shouldn't have put Ben and Zad next to each other.
I know, right? Now that being said, I do have I am sitting on a 4, and I've already invited Woe, so why not add another die and see if I get 2 pair? I now have 2 pair. I have 2 3s and 2 4s, and I have
Nice.
6 die permanently.
We're just watching Ben gamble.
We are watching a man with. I have a problem. This is so now. We are on the 2-pair table. The 2-pair table is a graveyard or memorial, a school, a mine, a tower, an obelisk, and a library. So we will see what we get. A 1, a graveyard or memorial.
So this is where I'm supposed to influence you with what I read in the book.
Yeah. So now you two, knowing it's a graveyard or memorial, take that passage. What is it?
I mean, he disappeared down the hole.
I think it's a crypt.
Yeah, that feels more graveyardy. A memorial would be more not like you put something there that you can.
Influence him is my job.
Influence him, baby.
Here's my take. So we talked about creatures going down in the hole.
Uh-huh.
I think that this nation, the peoples here, and you can tell me where this is going to get placed on the map. I think the people here bury their dead underground. And by bury their dead underground, I don't mean they get individual graves. I mean they have like an underground tunnel system that's almost like a second sewer system where they place their dead. Like an underground like crypt.
It's like a boy pit.
Like a what?
A boy pit. Sorry,
Like-
that is for exactly one person listening to this right now.
Okay. So it sounds like you're putting a weird accent on burp it.
So it sounds like the Paris catacomb kind of deal.
Yeah, they've got a Paris catacombs thing
Yeah,
going.
the most famous boy pit in history.
Jesus.
Gotcha. Okay.
I don't think it's quite that grim though. I think they probably keep it fairly organized, and people will go down there and like it's a calm and peaceful place that is well tended to and cleaned. It's not like skulls scattered around everywhere. And I think it probably also doubles as like a safe haven. Like you can go run and hide down there if the bears are attacking or whatever.
The Bears, yeah.
Yeah, the Chicago Bears.
Wow. Go sports. Do they cover their dead, or do they leave them to openly decompose or something?
I think they cover them. I think they bore out holes in the side of the walls and they slide them in there, and then they cover them with like stone
Head
tablets.
first or feet first?
They put them in feet first.
I was imagining long wise.
No, I think they're spatially very efficient. So I think
Gotcha.
they dig deep. They've got like they dig deep into the earth horizontally,
And
which
they
is actually
upset
a lot of work.
they upset the creatures of the shadow and fire.
Could be.
They awaken the Balrog.
That would suck. Well, they don't dig deep down. They dig deep horizontally, so they're not at risk of getting Balrogged.
You're not digging greedily. That's the key part of it.
They're digging efficiently.
Yes.
So where should we put this graveyard? I feel like we've got two high elevation spots. I'm probably thinking it's one of them, right?
Kind of like a mountainy cave system that
Yeah.
they've built.
It looks like there's a kind of a mountain range with foothills. Before
Is that
we
what
get
that
to
is?
Yeah. Hey, Rob. What you been drawing?
Spaghetti.
This is just details. So I've drawn some like curved lines.
You're just
and
spicing
some,
it out?
Angular lines along the low elevation. It's not my job to be like, this is what this is. This is y'all
Gotcha. Okay.
are. So like, you can say these are hills.
I fully thought waterfalls or something.
Oh, those
When
look
you
like
first
foothills.
started
from there.
drawing it. True.
I mean, it could be cool to have secret infinitum behind a waterfall.
Well, you got to put something behind the waterfalls, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm kind of down with that, actually. Okay, so, all right, here we go. We're going to synthesize everything. In the north part of this stretch of land, there is a mountain that carries so much snow at its peak that the melts are just about year-round. Like, the melt only stops, like, at the very, very, very tail end of fall. And this mountain is basically covered in waterfalls for most of the year when it isn't winter. And the waterfalls give way to a cave system within, and that's where people bury their dead. And so there is kind of a there's a festival after the falls stop where people will go in and visit their dead, but otherwise, like, to bury your dead in a timely manner, you have to go under the waterfall. So you not only are burying your dead, you do it soaking wet. And
Which
that
is a metaphor for something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of like an end of life baptism instead of a beginning.
kinda, yeah.
The waterfall waters cleanse them of whatever is important to these people that would need cleansing. You know, we can figure out what they believe in.
Yeah, we'll get there eventually. I'm gonna call them, for now, I'm sure we'll find a less cringe name, but we'll call them the Cleansing Catacombs.
I like that already.
It does give me kind of Dowletheria vibe.
Water
they-
and life and death. We keep coming
Yeah.
back to these themes. In
And
here,
fish.
right
Man.
here on Game
It's
Woman.
my girl.
It's like water's everywhere.
That's so
Yeah.
weird.
That's crazy. We made such an
I like
unrealistic world. It's got water everywhere.
It's almost like that shit's important and shouldn't be maybe a commodity or something like that.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Hey, okay.
Some of the irony is Chase did decide to go with the water and undeath together. That was his choice.
I like it a lot, and maybe these people, depending on the time frame, because they are very far north of Letheris's domain, maybe they've never heard the name Letheris.
Oh, Lotharia. Didn't even connect that till just now.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know if that was on purpose, but I did. I was just like, wait a minute.
Oh no, it was.
I had no.
Yeah.
I didn't know that at all. And
Oh
I'm
yeah,
the
Dal Letheria, definitely city of Letheris was what I was thinking.
I had no idea. I literally did not know.
I just got that now.
Incredible. So, Lex, you final say about where you want the on the map landmark for this to be.
The landmark itself is going to go on your uppermost yellow dot right next to the mountain.
I'm supposed to place them, and also it's supposed to be me influencing you during your turn. That's it.
Oh,
That's all.
I thought that you reading the text was influencing me.
That's what I'm using to influence you.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I get it now. Okay, yeah. So we want to be a little bit more careful about crosstalk is kind of what we're thinking here. And then I need to actually let you place the landmark instead of jumping on that.
We were both saying the highest point makes sense, and I was agreeing with that. That's why I didn't say anything. But also I was like, okay, if I don't say anything now.
Yeah, no, that's fine. No, well, the game is definitely heavily based on procedure, so we want to represent it as well as we possibly can. So because of my decisions, because of what I did on my turn as nation, that means it will pass to... Whoa.
Absolutely. Here we go. I have my standard deck of poker cards, including jokers. And I shuffle the deck, and then I play a round of 5-card draw, pulling 5 cards from the top of the deck and creating the best poker hand you can with them. So, if it's 5-card draw, that means that I get 1 discard and draw cycle, right?
I feel like if it says a round of 5-card draw, that implies you get to do a discard and draw cycle.
Right, because otherwise it'd be 5-card stud.
If the style of poker is 5-card stud, whatever your 5 cards, that's what you're stuck with. If the style of poker is 5-card draw, that means you get 1 discard cycle where you get to discard as many cards as you want from your hand and then redraw that many cards.
Gotcha.
And incidentally, while y'all were working, I was looking at my stuff. I went ahead and did that, discarded 3, and wound up with a pair of queens. And then I consult the table to find the result of the hand you managed to create, interpret the results of an omen of ill fortune. Pair of queens, as I roll on down here. Something thought to be a lie becomes true. Uncertainty takes root. Something that we know. Snowmelt is incredibly pure water, and those mountain springs, those mountain the waterfalls that come down when you walk through carrying the body of the loved one. All of the detritus of life is washed away from them as you go to take them and put them to their final rest. The lie that was told was that there was a child once who asked, okay, well, what happens to the life that the person led when it washes off them? It just goes into the river, or does it go down? And somebody who was feeling like, I think the child's uncle, who was feeling kind of smart that day, looked and said, well, you see, all of the fish in the water, they eat the memories of the things that is washed off of these people. And they eat all of the good times and they eat all of the bad times, and that lives inside their little fishy bellies. And that's why we're able to grow and have these big delicious fish. And everybody thought that was a cute story until one day somebody was eating a fish that had been pulled out of the river and suddenly got this strange notion that something that they had lost decades before was behind some panels in the barn. And they went out and they pulled up the floorboards in the barn and they found it. And they didn't put it there, but their spouse had died recently.
Zad, you sneaky fucker.
We got fish.
Dear listeners, if you're new to the show and you want to understand why what Zad did was shocking, go back to the very beginning of the arc and listen to Sanctuary and Sentinel.
And then go eat a fish about it.
And then go eat a fish
just
about it.
fish about it.
All right, team. We just
All
did a whole
right.
turn.
That was a whole turn.
Wow.
Yeah. Let's slam through another one.
You have been listening to Game Woven. This week we played Before the Flood, a game of utopic creation for 6 players, written by Nicholas Ambrose and Sylvan Lawrence. We got an early copy of the game, which we very much appreciate. If you like what we're doing, please feel free to leave us a review or go support us on Patreon. We are also proud members of the One Shot Podcast Network, so you should go check out their Patreon too. Today's episode featured Brianna Jean, ttbenjamin, zadkielingreen, robbrolling, Lex Olden, and as was foretold, aka